Welcome back. Wasn't that a lovely interview? Thank you for bearing with us. We're just gonna get right into it. We've got another lovely project for you. We've got our same wonderful interviewers as before, Ichiro Lambe and Henry Stadolnik, and we are here with the Walker's Encyclopedia Pagrodina. I believe I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. So the interviewer can absolutely please, or the interviewee please correct me on that. Go for it.
Let's take it away with the description.
Can you lead us in? Give us your elevator pitch.
Walker's Encyclopedia Pagrodina is a supplemental book for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. This is a project that I've been working on for basically the past 6 years. I even used it as part of my little demo reel to get into this school. So putting it as my master's project just kind of made sense.
Yeah. So I was going to say, I've been digging into D&D campaign building stuff myself lately, and I'm always a sucker for cool world building. So you definitely had my interest right from the start.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I did make my own campaign world. It's called Pagrodin, which is why the name is Encyclopedia Pagrodina. And the interesting thing about it is that most of the civilizations are underground. So we're talking about a subterranean world where the surface is super, super dangerous. And I made a bunch of new game rules for a D&D game type that I call Reclamation. And this is the type of trope that you see in things like the Fallout series or Metro or Horizon Zero Dawn, where the surface world is basically unrecognizable and much more dangerous than it was before. And it's your job to do something about it.
All right, so talk us a little bit through the mechanics. I mean, like D&D has literally decades of history behind it. There are up-teen bazillion supplements. Mechanically, what do you bring to the table?
Right, so I'm not even going to pretend to have the same amount of experience as the people making official D&D. So this project used a lot of iterative design. I would design something, say a specific subclass, and I would put it online. And I would just let whoever wanted to give me their feedback. And that led to a lot of good changes. And especially some things where they were just like, there's no way to make this good, trash it. And so I did.
Can you talk more about your philosophy in terms of the level of detail that you went into in the book? I kind of get the sense your vision for the world is even richer than what you presented, but you deliberately withheld some information explanations throughout.
Yes, you're actually spot on. So I saw in a lot of the official books that they spent a lot of time on the lore and backstory. And I don't know about everyone playing D&D, but I know that me and my friends, we skip the lore a lot and just get into the mechanics. So I kept the lore down to about 25% of the book. And it's about a 100-page book we're talking about. So I tried to be as compact as possible, which was a very big challenge because there are so many things that I needed to get across. And honestly, I think it turned out really, really well.
So this is something that you've been working on for the last half dozen years before your master's degree. Can you talk a little bit about how you rolled this up into, from, I guess, a hobby project into like academic research?
Right, so there's a whole long story that goes in there. Back when I started working on this, I was actually doing a pre-med track. And I actually took the MCAT and I was planning on going to med school. But then I told my parents, hey, I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be a game designer. So then my hobby project became my demo reel, which then became my master's project.
Fair enough. Yeah. I noticed in the foreword, you made a point of saying how you're inspired by the Seven Sleepers books and specifically mentioned their Christian nature. You also brought up the idea of making the world without anti-Christian themes. Are there particular parts of yourself or your religious experience that you think you strongly captured in the world that you built here?
No, so I'm not actually a very religious person myself. I just know that there's been a lot of negative conversation surrounding D&D, specifically with anti-Christian themes or just anti-religious themes and racial injustice. And those are two things that I wanted to make sure that I knew about going into this project. So I did a lot of research and made sure that everything was as good as it could be.
Okay, so I am pleased and taken by your switch from med to games. As you might imagine, I have a lot. My heart's in games. What do you hope to do in the industry? Why games?
I just know that I have a lot of experience with this, and I've basically been designing games outside of D&D for a long time now. I mean, back when I was in elementary school, I was creating games with my friends, and we would just go around to our classmates and have them play it and just say, hey, like, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? I mean, this is something I've been doing since I was a kid. It just always felt right. But of course, my parents took longer to understand that it was what I should be doing.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I've also done stuff like lifelong, but yeah. So in my experience, at least, naming stuff can be one of the hardest parts of world building. What was your process for naming all the different places and peoples and elements of things in the world?
Yeah, okay. So something that I really enjoyed doing was just using Google Translate, honestly. I would put words that were thematically correct into it and change them to other languages until something came up that I really liked. And the language that I used the most for that was the Basque language. It just has the most beautiful words in it. So you'll see that in the name of the big desert region in the world is called the Erlanza Desert, which is straight from Basque. There's also my original class called the Conala. That's also from Basque. And yeah, otherwise I just tried to think up as much as I could or just switch letters around until something good came up.
What was your biggest challenges in bringing this, again, from a hobby project into your master's thesis?
Yeah, the hardest part, honestly, it's putting it in front of people for that feedback, because these are all my babies, of course. I love everything that I create. So putting it in front of people and having them love it is amazing. But then I had people say that stuff was useless, stuff should never be made. I can't believe you've done this. But you just have to keep rolling with it. You know, you just have to keep going.
Reading through the thing, I definitely noticed there's a bit of a sense of humor that you can sort of read between the lines and notice in some parts, like the wonder cleric and things like that. What is do you have a particular like favorite detail or element that you snuck into the project?
So the wonder cleric is one of my favorite things in the project. It was actually just a joke. When I put it up online, I thought people would just laugh at it and move on, but people really fell in love with it. So I decided to keep it in the book. And yeah, you'll see a lot of sense of humor throughout the entire thing. I tried to keep it as lighthearted as I could. Walker, from the title, he's actually just a guy, and he leaves his notes in the book, and he tries to be funny. You can decide if he is or not.
But yeah, that's definitely a good way to add extra characterization. I did notice that.
I like character in RPG supplements, and one aspect of character that I think it's easy to dismiss is the visual, right? I mean, you pick up a supplement, and if it looks gorgeous, you just feel like it's more real. And well, at least I do. I feel better about reading it. Can you talk, and Walker's, the production values are it's beautiful. Can you talk through the process of bringing folks together for that?
Yes. Okay. So on the cover and in, I think, 7 other artworks throughout the work, that's all done by another student here at WPI named Janelle Knight. She worked herself to the bone on a number of projects, and I'm so grateful that she helped with mine. I think the cover looks amazing, but I also contacted a number of other artists that I had been admiring for years. And I was really, really excited when they actually said, yes, we're going to help with this, and you can totally use our art. And obviously I reimbursed them. I'm not a monster. I'm not just going to pay them with exposure. But yeah, I got those artists in, and when that still wasn't enough art for the book, I went and got royalty-free artwork from a site called Deposit Photos. But let me tell you, trying to find good artwork on a royalty-free site is very difficult. It takes so much time, but it was all worth it because the book looks amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Any final questions, Ichiro?
I think we're good. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you. By the way, the book will go on sale the same day as graduation. That's May 12th. So you can look for it online at drivethroughrpg.com.
You heard it here. Thank you.
Of course, and thank you.